this is Stampy, and welcome to another Let's Talk. This one is another Let's Talk about the Better Together update. Don't worry, these Let's Talks will be getting more varied in the future, but I just wanted to give my opinion on a topic which is something that I haven't really spoke about, and kind of one of the more heated topics around the Better Together update, and I thought some people might want to hear my opinions on it. So basically, the thing I'm talking about today is Sony, and the fact that the Better Together update isn't coming to the PlayStation 4, certainly not in the near future, and it sucks. It means that a lot of the people on the PlayStation 4 that wanted to play on servers, wanted to have this unified version, they wanted, I don't know, infinite worlds or whatever exclusive Bedrock feature it is that they're after, it means that they're not getting this version, at least not anytime soon, it looks like. There's Alex saying hello. So yeah, it's rubbish for them, but what I wanted to talk about in this video isn't about how bad it is and how evil Sony is, but kind of why it makes sense for Sony to not want this version, and also why it would kind of be a little bit mad if they ended up having this version. So I think the first thing to talk about is the way that this is actually going to work in terms of the way that you connect between the different platforms. I think a lot of people assume that people would sign into the PlayStation Network on the PlayStation and then sign into Xbox Live on their Xbox or whatever other platform it is, and then they would join into the server and be able to kind of communicate and be able to play together. But that isn't the way that it would actually work. The way it would work is that no matter what platform you are on, you have to sign into Xbox Live, whether that's on the Nintendo Switch when that version's released. As I'm making this video, it isn't, and then all of the mobile devices now, when you're playing online on servers, you need to sign into Xbox Live, and it would be the exact same situation for the PlayStation 4. And there was very recently a situation where crossplay did accidentally happen between the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. It was a game called Fortnite, it's in early access, and they accidentally enabled it so that they had crossplay and people were playing in the same world together, and they suddenly realized that, wait a minute, you're on Xbox and I'm on PlayStation. But that is a different situation because they were both signed in to their own kind of platforms online services. The way that this would work is different because you would be signing into Xbox Live no matter what platform you're on. The reason why it would be crazy for PlayStation to have this version, you know, if that is going to be the way it's going to work, is that if you're on the PlayStation, you need to sign on to Xbox Live, you know, their biggest competitor. And if you don't have an Xbox Live account, I'm assuming you'd have to make an Xbox Live account inside of the game on your PlayStation, which means you're basically signing people up to the online service of their biggest competitor. Like, it's not a fair way of doing it. It's not like it's equal between both platform members. You know, all of the benefits are going to the Xbox side, and you know, these are two big publicly trading companies, and you know, at the moment Sony is in the lead in this generation's console race. Just doing a move like this where it's, you know, all of the benefit is on the side of Microsoft just really doesn't make sense to them. And when it was first announced that Sony didn't want to have the version, even though Microsoft wanted them to have the version. Microsoft have been very open in saying that they're trying to continue talks with Sony, and they really want them to be part of this, you know, happy family, this unified version. You know, they kind of released a statement. It was someone called Jim Ryan, basically saying that, you know, they can't vouch for the safety of their players if they're signing into another service. And I think that when he said that, he wasn't saying that, you know, these players aren't going to be safe on Xbox Live. He's saying that, you know, when you sign up to PlayStation, you know, we can guarantee your safety. We are in control. If they do it this way, basically they aren't in control of that stuff. It's all done by someone else. And I think that there's kind of a bit of an ethical issue there in terms of, you know, when you're saying, you know, when you're on the PlayStation family, you know, we can look after you. We're in control of everything. And they're kind of losing quite a lot of control if you're signing into another company's service. So I think that's one of the big issues there. And not to mention, you know, they talk about safety. If they're looking at the Bedrock engine as it was when this was announced, you know, looking at the Pocket Edition or Windows 10, it wasn't safe. It was far from safe. Like, I have, you know, played that version online for a very small amount, and I've seen a whole load of really bad stuff, really inappropriate conversations, and then there's some ethical issues with some of the way that the servers are run. I haven't played on this new version. I've literally kind of had one day playing on the Bedrock Edition once it's been released on Xbox, so I don't know how much, you know, if at all, things have improved improved since then. But certainly when this announced, Minecraft on the Bedrock engine, was 100% not a safe place for people to play. So I think that, if they really were concerned that it wasn't a safe place, like, I think that all of those concerns are justified. There's no way they didn't do the research and kind of look into the type of interactions that they're having online. And just the fact that it's such an open game, it's very unconsole like to have a game the way it is on a console, and maybe they aren't ready for that, or aren't ready to have that type of game on their platform when they don't have full control, because people are logging into their competitors' service. And then another thing that I haven't really spoken about as well is microtransactions. So the way it works now with the store, you buy your coins, and then when you buy anything, whether it's a map, whether it's a skin pack, whether it's a transaction within a server, Microsoft gets a cut of that. And I think another issue that they might have is, if Microsoft is still getting a cut of all of these microtransactions, that basically means that, every time someone is buying something on the PlayStation version of the game, Microsoft is going to be getting a cut of that. Of course, there could be some special deal where maybe Microsoft don't take the cut and it gets split between Sony and, the content creators, whoever created the skin pack. Like, maybe that's going to be the way that it would work, but there's no guarantee of that. But that could have been another issue that PlayStation had with the deal. And I know a lot of you might be thinking, what about Sony? Why is not Sony? I'm talking about Sony. What about, who's the other one? Nintendo. What about Nintendo? Like, why are they okay to have this version on their platform, whereas Sony isn't? And I think the thing with Nintendo is they're different. Nintendo don't have their equivalent of, PlayStation Online or Xbox Live. Like, they have, a way that you can play games online. They have a subscription service which is coming in the future, but it's a completely different thing. Like, it's in no way as good or established as what Sony and Xbox have. So, I think they're benefiting from having, the Xbox Live sign in a lot more than Sony was. And they're also not as directly a competitor. The Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, they're pretty similar. Like, they're after the same player base. They're directly competing, and I think that Nintendo is a little bit off to the side. Like, I don't think there's a lot of people making decisions saying, like, do I get an Xbox or a Nintendo Switch? I think a lot of people, they're looking between either an Xbox or a PlayStation 4, or a Switch as kind of like a separate one, or maybe as a second portable console or something. So I also think that Nintendo aren't losing out as much. But I will be honest, I was surprised that Nintendo were going to do this, especially as Nintendo are generally one of the strictest companies in terms of safety and security. I was surprised when I heard that they were agreeing to this. We're obviously going to have to see kind of what form that version is going to be in when it comes out on the Switch, but I reckon it's going to be pretty much the same as the Xbox version. So yeah, hopefully that kind of explains why it really doesn't make too much sense for the PlayStation 4 to kind of join into this. Like, it doesn't seem to be a beneficial scenario for the PlayStation. Of course, we don't know what conversations they have been having, but it seems like no matter what, you would need to sign into Xbox Live, and I imagine that might be one of the points that kind of is holding up those conversations and why Sony might not want to do that. I also want to say that, like, I don't think it's anything like mean in Microsoft's side or some like sly tactic. Like, I like the fact that there is a unified login across all of these versions. There's lots of great safety reasons for that. You can ban someone and they'll be banned across everything. It also means if you make a purchase on one platform, it goes across all of them. So I'm not saying like this is a bad thing for Microsoft, the fact that they need to sign in for Xbox Live, but I just think that it does put all of the benefits in Microsoft's side. So of course, this is something that isn't great nonetheless for people on PlayStation 4. For me personally, I will be honest, I am happy about this and I am glad it's not having it, because it means that the PlayStation 4 is going to continue to get updates, and it means I basically have a choice of versions. I can play on the Bedrock engine. I think if I was to play the Bedrock engine, I'd play that on PC, just because my PC is more powerful than an Xbox One. But then I still do have a current generation console version, which is going to be continuing to get updates, so I can switch between the two. I know everyone's not in that situation, and if you only have a PlayStation 4, then this isn't as great of a situation for you. But for my personal opinion, like, I think that, you know, it's turning out into a better situation for me, because I basically have a choice for what I get to play. Whereas if it was released on PlayStation 4 as well, I'm kind of almost forced to move to the new version. And I think at some point in the future, I will move to the new version, but I don't think that's in my near future. Just looking at kind of the state that the game is in at the moment, the Bedrock engine, I think I'm going to be kind of moving over it to it in the more distant future, so I can stay on the PlayStation 4 for now, so it does work out for me. But yeah, let me know what you think. Try and kind of bear in mind what I said about the situation. I get it, if you are a PlayStation 4 player, it's easy just to get angry, but you got to remember that these are companies and they need to make money, and if it's going to be, you know, not a great situation for them, you know, they can't do it. Like, and when we say that, I'm not saying that all of these companies are big heartless things that are just trying to steal all of your money. Like, I'm sure they'd like to make money and create cool things and make their customers happy at the same time, but this really just doesn't seem like it would be a good move to kind of have this version the way it is now. But that's what I think. Love to know what you think. Leave it in the comments down below, and there'll be a new Let's Talk coming up soon. So I'll see you later. Bye!